Welcome to the Bold Money Revolution podcast. This is your source for straight talking, no fluff, business and high performance conversations that add real depth and value to the way bold leaders live, work, and thrive. I'm your host, Tara Newman. I'm here to show you how to optimize your performance as a leader so that you can grow a business that is profit-rich, efficient, and allows you to generate real, tangible wealth for yourself and others. We are here to help you lead with your values, to perform without overwhelm and burnout, and to do your most important work in the world. Hey, bold leaders. Welcome to another episode of the Bold Money Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Tara Newman, and today we're going to be talking about how to know if the Bold Money Mastermind is right for you. So every year in the fall, we open the Bold Money Mastermind for enrollment for the next year. It is my only program that really has a hard open and close right now. And this is the time of year that we are talking to people about whether or not they want to be stepping up into this container of work for the next year. And the reason why we give it a lot of time is because I think that we should be giving you the time to make this decision, the time to gather your information. I want the time to get to know you and your business so that I can very honestly and transparently help you in making the best decision for your development. So this is the podcast episode today. I think that whether you want to join us or not, as a matter of fact, I know most of you will not be joining us. That's just the way the numbers and the statistics line up. I still think it's a good podcast episode for you to listen to. I think you'll still have some insights and takeaways. I have some questions for you at the end that are going to be really helpful for you in your business and as you think of what investments you want to be making in the next 6 to 12 months. Planning for your investments is really helpful. That is another reason why we give a bit of a longer runway to joining this program. It allows us to help supporting you in making the investment in any way that we can. And I'm going to be really transparent in this episode about who this program is for, who it's not for. There's an interesting statistic around sales that says 50 to 70% of your prospects are not a fit for your service, which seems like it's a bit shocking given how we portray leads and sales on the internet. But that is an actual statistic. And the best thing that you can do is be really clear about who your programs are for and who they're not for. I want to talk to as many of you as possible. I want as many of you to apply for the Bold Money Mastermind because this is the time where I really open my calendar for everyone, and I'm not particularly concerned whether or not you're a fit. It just gives me an opportunity to hear where you're at and to help you gain some clarity and maybe a little bit of a game plan for yourself, whether or not you join us. So I'm aware that a lot of you are not either going to be a fit or not be interested. And I still want to encourage you that if this is even like an inkling, hop on a call because maybe I can still give you a little bit of a game plan. Maybe I can make a referral to somebody else. Maybe you just start a relationship with me and now's not the right time, but later is. Lots of amazing things come out of these conversations when we can connect and collaborate with each other. And that's actually a really important part of being in my mastermind is that you're able to connect and collaborate. So if you are interested, the best way to do that is to go to theboldleadershiprevolution.com/mastermind or just jump in my DMs on Instagram and ask me whatever questions you have. I do a lot of outreach to people who are interested in my various programs, and I eventually they do respond and they ask me their questions. But a lot of times they say like, oh, I've been really thinking about it and I've had these questions, but I haven't reached out. Just reach out and ask them. It saves so much time when we don't keep our brains like cycling on these things. There's no question too small, too big, too silly. I welcome all questions. I say this in all my programs. Please ask me questions. It helps me be a better teacher, better communicator. So I wanted to say that in case anybody's feeling apprehensive or maybe they'll do it later. Just do it now. It'll save you some decision fatigue. So the reason why I'm so transparent about who my programs are for and who they aren't for is that I have a commitment to working with people who will actually be able to get the result from my programs. We don't take this seriously enough in online business education. I don't think we take this seriously enough in any online education, and I can have a whole conversation about that in itself. And maybe I'll add some color to this as we go through this podcast episode. But I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm looking for certain things, and I will say, I'm not sure if this is going to be a good fit for you because of maybe where you are in your business, maybe where you are in your life, maybe, an income level, or maybe a skill set, or maybe just you are interested in pursuing a different strategy and that strategy is not my expertise. So I'm really clear about what I do, how I can help, and how I can not help, right? Because I just don't want to waste my time. My energy is precious. So like a really good example of this is if you are super interested in running a low dollar, high volume business. That is not my expertise. That is not my jam. I don't want to do it. I have specific opinions about it. It's not my area of expertise. I don't run Facebook ads in my business, and you will need Facebook ads for volume. Like there's just a lot about my skill set that doesn't apply to that particular type of business. All right. So that's kind of why I'm being transparent. Also, fully committing to my clients getting results. And I really want everybody to hear this when you're like, what's my best way to get more clients? What's my best lead generation strategy? What's my best whatever? It's fully committing to the clients you have and getting them the results that they want, or being honest with them about the results that they want, right? That is the most profitable way that I know to run my business or any business. I want my clients to experience wealth beyond their wildest dreams. I want them to grow a business that complements their lifestyle and have them talking about the work we do together that leads to testimonials, referrals, and in a lot of cases, long-term client relationships that are incredibly fulfilling to me and the other client. I think in the online business space, there's a lot of client churn. And we have to look at that and understand why that's happening, because when I look at my clients who do business outside of the online business space, that's not happening. Their clients are in, a long-term relationship with them because they're getting results, because they have that relationship. And there's just a lot of mutual respect around that. I can think of my husband who has clients who have been purchasing from his company for decades, and the same for my father, and the same for a number of my clients who are local business consultants and professionals, or, working in B2B where they have retainer packages and they just keep getting asked back and back and back and back. I have a former client who's got a multi-million-dollar business, does no marketing. It's all based on his relationships and his network. And it's because he's clear on what he does, who he does it for, how he does it, and then commits and goes all in with this client. As a matter of fact, I love him because one of his business metrics is whether or not he gets invited to the department, like the birthday parties, like that they have in departments, or does he get an invitation to the baby shower that their coworkers are holding, right? And that means that he's built that relationship with them. And so that is really how I look to run my business, is to really get my clients the results that they want. I've also built a business that isn't reliant on me taking massive volumes of clients because it keeps delivery more streamlined. This means I have other revenue streams aside from the mastermind and aside from the Bold Profit Academy that allow me to generate revenue. So I have multiple levers that I'm pulling to bring in income, and that allows me to be more discerning in the clients that I take on. And I want that for you too. So that's really how I like to show up and model running a business. We have built this business to a point of sustainability by being honest with our clients and the folks who get on sales calls with me to make sure it's the best fit all around. It's a mutual decision-making process when you get on a phone call with me to inquire about any of my programs. And I just really want to restate that because I know that's not necessarily how a lot of sales calls work. So working with the best fit clients allows me to be efficient in my business and allows me to scale more easily. I share this point with you because that is what we are working on inside the Bold Money Mastermind. These are businesses that have worked hard over the years to build up their relationships, to build up their reputations, to build up revenue. And now they're looking to fine-tune their businesses to perform more efficiently, allowing for growth to require less effort. So I think we really get scaling wrong. As a matter of fact, I just had this conversation yesterday in our monthly workshop call for the mastermind, where we don't understand what scaling is because it gets really misrepresented. And I find particularly women are hesitant, that's a good word, hesitant around scaling because they believe that scaling means more work. And the reality is that scaling is when you are selling more efficiently. You're able to enroll more people into a program without having to increase your expenses at the same rate that you're increasing your sales. So scaling is when you increase your sales, but you are keeping the increase to your expenses pretty minimal, right? And so what that means is you're making more money more efficiently. And it becomes effortless, not hard work, not more work. It actually makes things easier. And I've said this before on this podcast, simple is what scales. Complex doesn't scale. And a really good book that I've read recently that I'm using as inspiration for this year's mastermind is Greg McKeown's new book, Effortless. So Greg McKeown wrote Essentialism, and he just came out with a new book called Effortless, and we are using that as an inspiration for the mastermind. So if you're like, what's she talking about? You can go pick up his book, give it a read. Those are some of the principles that we are going to be playing with as we look to evolve the businesses that are in the mastermind in 2022. So who is this for? Who's this for? Service-based business owners. So if you've got a product or something like that, solely a product-based business, this container is not going to be for you. Service-based business owners who are currently earning more than $250,000 per year or are on track to do that and want to experience continued growth at a moderate pace. Okay, so a couple of things when we talk about numbers and a couple of things when we talk about pace. I am here to be honest and transparent. There are a lot of big numbers that get thrown around online and in the interwebs, and I really want to have more transparent conversations around business revenue, profitability, what we're paying ourselves. And the reality is those 7- and 8-figure businesses are few and far between. And the likelihood is that most of you don't want to run those businesses. And I don't blame you, because those businesses, while they are able to take, some of them have scaled, like where they're increasing their sales without increasing their expenses, but that's not always the case. A lot of times they are taking home less. A lot of times they are a bit unwieldy to manage, and they come with a set of headaches that you may or may not even want. I am here for all of you being millionaires and even multiple millionaires. And we can do that for you without having $1 million or multi-million-dollar business. And I just really want to be clear on where I stand with that. So for the mastermind, you are on target or at $250,000 per year, and you want more. You want more income coming in, not because this is an ego move, not because this is some kind of external validation, but because you want your work to be more potent. You want your work to be more lucrative. You want to have more financial freedom for whatever your personal reasons are. And you are looking to grow beyond that 250,000. I would say that when you are at that $1 million mark, you're probably also not for this group. That's a different program and container that I have where I work with businesses who are earning into the 7 figures. And again, they're few and far between. So I really just wanted to be honest about the revenue and why that is the way it is. I also want to be honest about the pace. This is not about overnight success. This is not about quick fixes. This is not about any of those things. This is about high performance, pacing, intentional growth, moderate pace. We can make decisions when we slow things down. And that's really what I'm here for. That to me is healthy. It's sustainable. It's easy on your nervous system as a business owner. So the other way you know who this is for, you are selling premium or high ticket services, or you want to add a premium service to your existing business. Premium for me means more than $3,000. You want to solve complex problems. Okay. Businesses are inherently problematic. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the business. They just come with challenges, places that we can improve. They have complex problems. And we want to be thinking about long-term solutions. So I want you here if you are going to be proactive in your business versus reactive in your business, right? And so when we are in a state of continual improvement, not because there's something wrong with us or because something needs to be fixed, but because we're proactively keeping momentum going, that is who this is for. And you are not interested in chasing overnight success or vanity metrics. You're also not interested in fame. Okay, so if you want to be famous and you want like these huge Instagram accounts, you want to be a web celeb or seen as a guru of some sort, this is not going to be the container for you. If you want to write a book and you want to be well known for your thought leadership, that is different. So I just wanted to put that out as well. All of my programs require you to show up, be collaborative, and engage with the program. For the mastermind, you need to be able to set goals, be accountable to a set of actions, and willing to curate a set of metrics to help you measure your progress. Not from a place of being pressurized, not from a place of we're grading you, but we want to help you make progress. And we will help you with all of this. And we will help you find the metrics that feel good to you. And if for whatever reason at this moment you're not actually tracking any metrics, we're going to find a few. This isn't about Tara needs you tracking all the things. That's not what this is about. This is simply about you feeling good about the progress that you're making in your business and being able to see what works and doesn't work and allowing you to think strategically, which is like thinking down the line and thinking in more layers and more nuance. And like I said, we help you with all of this, but we will be asking you to check in and to report progress and to collaborate with others in the group and ask for support or feedback. This is a group program. We define collaboration as brainstorming, practicing, sharing results, and building genuine professional relationships. This is not a place for you if you need more friends, if you're just looking to access or rub elbows with a certain type of person. That's not what I'm selling. And I know that there are masterminds out there that do that's amazing, but that's not this mastermind. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is in a minute. You have to be able to have a positive growth mindset. You have to be willing. If you find yourself saying, I can't, that's not possible for me, it's already being done, or you're overly caught up in perfection to the point where it inhibits you from taking action, this isn't going to be the program for you. All right. And when I say positive growth mindset, I do not mean toxic positivity. You are solutions oriented. And so being solutions oriented requires you to acknowledge and see struggle, obstacles, frustrations, complaints you have. I personally get so much value out of my business development when something is frustrating to me because I will change that. I don't like that. I don't want to tolerate that, right? But I have to be able to express it in a way that's constructive. It invites brainstorming and curiosity and dialogue. We want to navigate through your frustrations, but not from a place of venting aimlessly, right? So if you're solutions oriented, you can acknowledge struggle, obstacles, frustrations, and talk about them in a way that is solutions focused. Cool. Like, we're here for that. We're here for your shitty day. We're here for your shitty month. And we are here to not fix it, because we're not trying to fix it, right? But we want to explore what's here for you in that moment. Otherwise, nothing moves forward, right? And I am here for things progressing and moving forward and getting better. Like, how good can we get your business to be? And patience. You need to have patience, okay? And I'm going to be really clear on this one. Rome wasn't built in a day, period. This mastermind is about helping you experiment, collect data, evaluate, make difficult and complex decisions. It's a place for nuance. I practice what I preach. I consistently take small steps every day to move me closer to my goals and my vision. I just said I get frustrated. I express it. I receive support. I think critically. I do not, in this program, hold space for tantrums. All right. I appreciate that we all have them, but I'm not going to get into holding space for tantrums because it's very exhausting for me, and I don't think it's fair to the group to take up that space in that way. So your patience is super important. It's how you and I are going to have the best relationship, right? The most collaborative relationship. And I get like people get impatient, right? But I just mean in general, like it's your personality to be a very impatient person. The mastermind is about partnership. You're the expert in what you do. You're most likely experiencing challenges in the things that I do, which is help businesses grow with simple and straightforward strategies for sales, operations, and money. I don't do gimmicks. I don't do fads. I do what has always worked and continues to work today. If it was a strategy before the internet existed, it is a strategy that I use today. And so I do want to be clear about those two things, that this is about partnership, that I acknowledge you as the expert in what you do, and that you acknowledge me and value me as the expert in what I do. Being a direct communicator, highly, highly important. My business values are honesty and transparency. I communicate directly, proactively, and with kindness. And while I don't have a ton of expectations, because I hate that word, I like to use agreements, I genuinely do expect the people I work with to communicate directly, proactively, and with kindness. It's a requirement for business, for sales, for relationships. And the women I work with respect constructive feedback and real support, which requires everybody to be courageous enough to say the things, right? So who is this not for? Who's this not for? First of all, if you're not coachable, right? And we do have a podcast episode. It's one of our most popular podcast episodes, and we will link it in the show notes, called Are You Coachable? And in that podcast, I help you identify if you're coachable and give you permission to not be coachable right now. Listen, sometimes we have things going on in our businesses, in our lives, where we are not coachable. Maybe we're working on things in our personal life that feel very raw, and we're not open to receiving feedback, or we're not open to being in a relationship in that way. I just can think out of my own life. There have been times like that, or maybe life is just very chaotic right now and you don't have the bandwidth. All those things are fine. Like I'm not saying coachable, uncoachable is a way to shame or disparage at all. It's just a point of self-discovery and self-awareness that I would like you to have as you're considering any kind of investment in your development, not just this program. So we will link that in the show notes. So if you're not willing to take the time and care to build actual relationships that go beyond a Zoom room or social media, this is not going to be for you. People buy from people. Business is a relationship. Running a business where you hide behind a keyboard is a myth. Sales require you to talk to people. What I present in this program is high touch relationship building that, when you do put in the time and the effort, pays back and rewards you in so many different aspects of your life, not just in your business. And so that is really what I'm looking to develop here in each of the participants in this program. So the other thing is, what I present in this program are frameworks. I present structure for business success. This helps you navigate your business independently. And these structures and frameworks work when you use them. I'm also very good at helping you figure out how to navigate a framework, a structure, or a system so it does work for unique aspects of who you are. I have ADHD. Like, not all systems and structures are for me. Sometimes I have to really customize and create my own, find workarounds so I'm not the bottleneck. I excel at this, and I want to help each of you in the program as we're designing frameworks and structures and systems that they work for you, okay? And at the same time, you have to be open to using them. You have to try to use the frameworks, the assessment tools, the calculators, because it's, if there's a part of you that's hell-bent on doing it your way, even when given a framework to help you, this program is not going to be for you. So if you just are someone who is naturally resistant, and there are people out there who are like this, there are people who are just naturally disagreeable, they are real rebels and renegades, and they're going to do it all on their own, regardless of perhaps there being an easier path given to them, because there's just a lot there for them around independence. Again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I can be like that at times. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to be continually resisting the frameworks and the structure and the systems and the guidance that we're giving you, this is not going to be productive for you. It's not going to get you a result. It's going to be frustrating, right? You're going to be bumping up against your own stuff. And I don't want that. And you don't want that. One of my greatest assets is my 20 years of business experience, including going bankrupt. I always say I went bankrupt, so you don't have to. It's very tongue-in-cheek when I say that. But even though it didn't come out that way. But one of my greatest assets is this deep well of experience. And I have spent a shit ton of time and money experimenting with different tactics. Why? Because I'm a nerd. I'm a business nerd. But also, I'm great at implementing and applying things. And I like testing things and then saving my clients money. So I love when my clients are like, hey, I'm seeing this shiny object. Have you ever had any experience with this? Have you tried this? What has your experience been with this? Not for permission, but because I've likely tried it, debriefed it, measured it, and have a really good understanding of how it works, or somebody who is a peer or colleague of mine who does that, because I run with a lot of other business nerds. And so, asking questions and being a great communicator is so important to you on your business growth journey. Seeking input from others is incredibly helpful. And it's not just me. There's other people in the group who I know have taken lots of professional development, have tried lots of different things, and they may or may not have worked out so great for them, and they can help save you money and make you money. So if you're unwilling to do this, that's another reason why this program is not going to be for you. Okay, now, aside from being coachable, or maybe hand-to-hand, going hand in hand with being coachable, what's really important to me is that when people work with me in any of my programs, that they have tangible assets that they take away, that they want to grow, develop, and actually like acquire skills, not just mindset shifts, right? Like mindset shifts are great, but I want people to have a tangible experience, and I want them to be able to develop skills. And I want to share why this is important to me, because I think it's somewhat around what makes me different and maybe even gives me a unique perspective. So this is how I think about developing small business owners. If you're new to this podcast, you might not know that my background, both my area of expertise in industrial organizational psychology and my career background is in leadership development and high performance. So what that means to you. Industrial organizational psychology is a body of psychology that is concerned with human behavior at work and in business. A notable organizational psychologist is Adam Grant. He's the author of Think Again and Give and Take. Brené Brown is also branched out into organizational development with her work in the book Dare to Lead. So my entire career has been spent helping leaders work better, work more efficiently, and develop the skills they need to improve their careers and organizational outcomes, which is a big mouthful. But my background is in organizational development, is in training, is in learning, is in performance, is in some of these things that actually help you grow as a business leader. And specifically, there has been a lot of interest over the years in helping women and marginalized groups advance within their careers. So my entire career has been spent helping leaders, but also like very focused on how do we develop women and how do we develop these marginalized groups so that our companies and our organizations have diversity and they're not always led by old white men. However, when you aren't working in an organization, meaning you're working for yourself, you're working in a small business, there's nobody looking out for your professional development. That is left to you and your own devices. You have to figure that out for yourself. And it's really confusing given all the different marketing messages looking to sell you on their specific solution or strategy and to give you another info product, even programs that provide like access to a leader in the hopes that their success will rub off on you. There's a lot of that going on in the online business education space, whether you are an online entrepreneur or not, because I speak to a lot of business owners who do not consider themselves online business owners. And they say the same thing because they're going on LinkedIn, they're going on Instagram, they're being targeted on Facebook by these opportunities as well. It's not just whether or not you want to use the tools that the internet provides to run a business or not. It's a lot of different people who are being confused by these messages. So with my background in instructional design and leadership development, I see a unique opportunity for me to provide a different perspective in the online education market. This greatly impacts the way we design our two educational programs at the Bold Leadership Revolution. And one thing that I think makes us particularly unique is that we're not here to serve the masses. We are here to serve a very specific business owner who wants to escape the one-size-fits-all solutions, templates, and the dogma, and learn how to run their businesses in a way that honors and supports their values, strengths, and personal goals. We encourage our clients to do it differently. We've done it differently. And what I've learned is that it's an approach for the few, even though I want it to be for the many. There are not many people who are willing to step into this type of business building in this type of container. It's for the few because it's simple, which lots of people resist thinking because then they kind of deem like, well, if it's simple, then it doesn't count, or if it's complicated, then it's worth it, or not believing that simple strategies work better than complex strategies. But also, the simple strategies require more presence, time on task, and habits. There is no overnight success or instant gratification. You will most likely be going against the grain, experimenting with things that might have unknown outcomes, right? It's likely going to come with slower progress, but over the long run, you will build a better, more sustainable business. To run a sustainable business where you're building a long-term asset that contributes to your wealth requires patience, focus, and tenacity. It very much requires you to go against the grain of like your human nature. It makes you go against like normal human psychology. And this is where high performance strategies really come into play. High performance habits help you create new neural pathways that allow you to buck this system as a business owner, because humans naturally crave certainty, the known, comfort, immediate gratification. Stories of overnight success are like dopamine hits, right? And so we have to really retrain the way we think so that we're okay with uncertainty, that we're okay with the unknown, that our default becomes discomfort or doing uncomfortable things, that we are more patient and we're able to really track our progress so we are more excited about the progress we're making and we don't need that immediate gratification. If you're curious about what types of results you might get from participating in the Bold Money Mastermind, that is actually a very individual conversation and something that we can discuss together on the call you book with me by going to theboldleadership.com/mastermind or by DMing me on Instagram if that's easier for you. Instead of talking about results here, I want to talk about maybe some of the real conversations that we're having behind the scenes with our clients in the mastermind or even my private one-on-one clients, because I want you to hear how not the standard marketing message they are and how different they are. I also want to add that I'm 100% committed to you getting the result that you want. And what that means is me being honest about the result that you want, where you are in your business, what your skill set is, and what your resources are for obtaining that result. And that I can't guarantee a specific result, or that because a client of mine has had a specific result, that you would also get that result, right? Like these are very individual factors that go into that. And I want to be responsible in the way that I talk about results, because it would be very easy for me to income market, but that's a red flag for me. MLM's income market, and I think it's predatory. I also can't guarantee that anyone will get that specific result because, like I said, there's just too many variables, which is why the ROI of this program is also linked to you developing tangible skills, habits, processes, systems to help you continue to reap the rewards of the program long after you leave. Right? So that's really what I want you to know I'm most concerned with and what I'm focusing on. So the other day, a client of mine, we were talking, they're a business consultant to a local small business market. His recent conversation with me was about how he's seeing so many small business owners struggling, that everyone thought COVID was going to be the big problem, and that it's really this very strange, are we post-COVID or are we not gasm that we are in, where inflation is impacting businesses, selling hard, businesses, especially businesses selling hard goods, labor shortages are impacting people, supply chain issues are problematic. Everyone seems to be increasingly more stressed, anxious, angry, and depressed. And he's fearing for the decisions that his clients are making in the short term out of fear and scarcity that he knows will impact them further down the line. Not the typical conversation that you're hearing on social media. And he was asking for support in solving some pretty complex problems that he's seeing in his target market. And he cares a lot about these people. But he knows that if the small business community crumbles, we're all in a big heap of trouble. So he is like, I'm seeing all these small business owners having these various different problems. And I know how important the small business community is to rebuilding our economy. And like, how can I support these businesses in really coming together as a community and thriving, even though things might be hard? And if the only business information you consume is online, you're likely getting a very incredibly false perspective of what's happening, and you might not even care. But how does this impact your clients and customers? Does the woman buying your health coaching services have income coming in from her job, or is her employer struggling? Do you need to consider increasing your prices if we do experience an inflationary period where the cost of goods that you're buying increase? Are the challenges facing your clients, especially in the B2B space, changing and evolving because of the Great Resignation? So 91% of my Instagram community feels that social media over-glamorizes business ownership. And it does. And there are reasons why. They don't talk about what's really happening in business. So you never come up with real solutions. And if you're someone who listens to this podcast, gosh, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you already know this. If you consider yourself an online business entrepreneur or online business owner, and you are very tied to using social media for your business, you're really into these online business kind of schemes around, high volume, low dollar, or, webinars and all this stuff, like that's not what I teach. And again, I'm just going to keep being clear. So if that's what you want to purchase, I am not the best person to purchase from. There are tons of other people to work with who will help you set up your webinar, who will help you with your launch, who will help you do all of those things. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you wanting to do that. I'm just here to support the probably 80% of the people who are looking around and don't want to do business that way, who don't want to constantly be doing reels or Facebook Lives, or that feels uncomfortable to them for whatever their reasons are. There are other ways to build a business, and I understand what it feels like to I came from a very traditional business background. And when I started my business, it was because I had a blog. So I was already blogging, I was already online, I was already on social media, and I was seeing these strategies and these ads and these programs, and none of it felt good to me. I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And I was like, where are the people who are running businesses from a more traditional, sustainable methodology? Where are the people who are showing me how I can run a business that isn't a cookie cutter, that actually stands out? And that's really what I wanted. And that's what I'm here to provide to all of you. Now, another client that we were talking the other week, she asked me about continuing on in the mastermind for next year. She commented that she needs a space where a diverse group of business owners can talk about real business things. She has goals that most women don't have, but can easily get adrift throughout the year, even though these financial goals are important to her. We all have a lot of irons in the fire. She's no different. And having someone to support her in sticking to her own goals when business gets busy, providing a structure for success when she's head down supporting clients and doesn't always stay committed to working on the business simply because, she's got a lot going on. That's another conversation that we're having. Another client mentioned that they appreciate the opportunity to continually pull themselves up into a higher level of thinking instead of remaining in the weeds, and appreciating the ability to reprioritize and being able to zoom out and then focus in is calming and gives her directionality that helps her business continue to grow. Another client of mine, we were talking, and she has been so tenuously navigating motherhood and her big business aspirations while feeling like there are very few people who can relate to her level of desire to build wealth and to make an impact. And she talks about the mastermind being like oxygen for her. It's like self-care. And she's had to step in and out of her business over the last year, like many of us parents have had to do with kids home and really, walking that tightrope, which has been so challenging for so many. And what she's been able to do, and I'm so proud of her, but what she's been really able to do is use that stepping back, that quiet period to work on really strategic initiatives like gaining clarity on her vision, her mission, her target market, and testing how easy can she make running a business given that she's got these really competing priorities at the moment. Right? And so those are some of the conversations and things that we have been working on. And the Bold Money Mastermind is here to support business owners who want to create a business that is an asset to generate wealth for themselves. Meaning you are in it for the long haul and are not looking for that overnight success. You're looking for strategies, performance, resiliency. You've most likely spent a handful of years working hard. Let's face it, it is hard work to build a business. So you have been working hard to build up your revenue that you're currently at. And now that you're making money, it's time to start making that money in a more efficient way so you can make more of it and set different financial goals. Always a purpose for the money that we're making. Never revenue for revenue's sake. Always having a purpose and having the way we earn income be in alignment with our values. And so this is about leveraging what you already have going and amplifying it. So here's what you actually get. I'm a bit of a stickler in the sense that I want my clients, like I said, to take away real tangible results. So that's why this mastermind container is created a little differently than maybe some other masterminds that you might be interested in. So it's really important to me that my clients receive skill development, something tangible that they can say they've grown a competency as a business owner, peer support, and strategic coaching from me. And that's why we have the following components. So we have monthly workshop calls. This is a call that has a theme where we're diving deeper on a specific topic and engaging in some implementation activity to experiment and or really develop that skill and decide, is this something that I actually want to be doing on a regular basis? What's a way for me to implement this? And sometimes we bring in outside support depending on the topic, but the topics include strategic planning, lead generation and nurture, sales systems, wealth creation, client delivery, and team. We also have monthly hot seat calls. You will be, if you would like a hot seat call, you're going to submit your hot seat topic, and we are going to be picking people to have a monthly hot seat. Believe it or not everybody always wants a hot seat. My clients often find that they get so much out of somebody else's hot seat. So that's why we hot seat in this way. You do get 4 one-on-one calls with me and 3 back pocket calls. So traditionally, masterminds often do not come with one-on-one support, or they come with one-on-one support with an accountability coach. You get me directly in this program. This is your way if you want one-on-one time with me to work with me. You also get full access to the Bold Profit Academy, and I will be referring you to the calculators, templates, and resources that are in there. And we will also be having a virtual and an in-person retreat. The in-person retreat is at my home. And like I always say, this is not a passive program. It's results-oriented, which means in the first 2 months of the program, you're going to be creating your strategic plan, ensuring you have the leads you need to support the growth you want, and making sure that your time is being used efficiently. I'm letting you know right now, and this is like probably people are where people go, no. But you will need to be accountable for at least 1 or 2 time studies at a few times throughout the year, so we can make sure that you're actually making the most money in the least amount of time so you can go enjoy the money you're making. We want to know how you're spending your time. And for those of you who have sensitive parts around productivity culture, this is actually incredibly freeing because we want to make sure you're actually reducing your work time. But we won't know we are unless you are tracking it. So I treat this as a tool for self-discovery, not productivity, right? And just some FAQs that you might be wondering. What access do you get from me? I told you I'm on the hot seats. I'm going to be probably running the majority of the workshop calls. You will get one-on-ones with me. And you also have access to the Bold Profit Academy, and I am in there as well. So it is a lot of access to me in this program. What types of businesses are in the mastermind? That's the other one that I get asked. And it's a variety of businesses have participated, from consultants, leadership coaches, real estate agents, health and wellness professionals, marketing consultants, high performance coaches, accountants, messaging experts, other service-based professionals are in this program. Can I work with you one-on-one? No. I'm not currently taking one-on-one clients because all of my clients that are in the revenue range of this mastermind, from about $250,000 up to $1 million, are all working on the same business fundamentals, and it's more effective for me to give you a group of people to support you with my strategic oversight. So belonging to the mastermind allows you 4 one-on-one support sessions with me and a couple of back pocket calls. So that is how you get that time. So if you're someone who is enthusiastic about growth, who is in a time in your life, a season in your life where you really want to grow your business, and it's okay if you don't, but if you're in a season of life where you do want to grow your business and you enjoy being supported in achieving those goals, and you fit the description of what we talked about today, head on over to the boldleadershiprevolution.com/mastermind. Now, whether you are joining us or not, I want to share with you how you can use this podcast to grow your revenue and increase your wealth. So in a journal, you can ask yourself, I think, 4 really good questions right now as you consider what your investments are for next year. What does support in your business look like? What are all the reasons you might be avoiding or putting off getting support? What's possible for you and your business with the best support for you? What is the cost of not taking action to get the support you need? Those are 4 questions that you can be asking yourself right now to make the most out of listening to this podcast. If you found this podcast valuable, help us develop more bold leaders in the world by sharing this episode with your friends, colleagues, and other bold leaders. Also, if you haven't done so already, please leave a review. I consider reviews like podcast currency, and it's the one thing you can do to help us out here at the Bold Leadership Revolution HQ. We would be so grateful for it. Special thanks goes to Stacey Harris from Uncommonly More, who is the producer and editor of this podcast. Go check them out for all your digital marketing and content creation needs. Be sure to tune into the next episode to help you embrace your ambition and leave the grind behind.